Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Charles Alpha and my sign language interpreter is Courage Ogerahi. Let's take a look now at the major headlines. African Union suspends Gabon from the continental body following the ousted of President Ali Bongo, just as the Nigerian junta withdraws immunity for French ambassador in that country. Former U.S. President Donald Trump pleads not guilty in court. And President Bola Tinubu tasked religious leaders to intensify the reorientation of Nigerians. Now, Gabon's new strongman General Brice Oligui Nguema is to be sworn in as a transitional president on Monday, 4th September 2023. Meanwhile, the country's main opposition is urging the military leaders to conclude the vote count from last weekend's elections. Uche Oguchukwu tells us more.
Spokesman for the Committee for the Transition and Restoration of Institutions, Olish Manfobi, said on State TV on Thursday that Oligui will face in transitional institutions. No details were given on the duration of the transitional institutions. He instructed all general secretaries, ministerial officers, directors generals, and officials of state services to ensure in the immediate future the effective resumption of work and continuity of the functioning of all public services. The army chiefs reassured all donors, development partners, as well as state creditors that all provisions will be taken to guarantee respect for Gabon's commitments both internally and externally. The spokesman added that Gabon will respect all its commitments at home and abroad. In the meantime, Gabon's main opposition has urged military leaders who have overthrown President Ali Bongo to conclude the vote count from last weekend's elections and acknowledge their candidate had won the disputed poll. The 2023 coalition also said it was inviting the security forces to take part in discussions in order to work out the situation within a patriotic and responsible framework. Alliance spokesman Mike Joktan told reporters that the army officers were the first witnesses of main opposition candidate Albert Ondo Osa's clear victory. The coup announcement early Wednesday came just moments after the National Election Overseer declared Bongo had won a third term with 64.27% of the vote and Ondo Osa won 30.77%. Meanwhile, African Union Peace and Security has suspended Gabon following the military takeover. In its Twitter handle, the body condemned the military takeover which ousted Ali Bongo. Uche Oguchukwu, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the junta in Nigeria has revoked the diplomatic immunity of the French ambassador and ordered his eviction. The report. The deadline expired on August 28 without France recalling it. The French government says it does not recognize the coup rulers as the country's legitimate leaders. The communique sent by Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs earlier this week, seen by the Associated Press news agency on Thursday, said Ite no longer enjoys the privileges and immunities attached to his status as a member of the diplomatic staff of the embassy. The document also states that the diplomatic cards and visas of the ambassadors' families have been cancelled. Meanwhile, Burkina Faso's government has approved a bill authorizing the dispatch of troops to neighboring Niger, which faces threatened military intervention to restore civilian rule. A statement released on Thursday states that the draft law was approved in a meeting of Burkina's military-dominated government. The European Union defense ministers have reaffirmed commitment to long-term military support for Ukraine and address the security situation in the Sahel. The meeting took place in the Antigua and was chaired by EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs, Joseph Borrell. Haman Jabani reports.
One of the priorities of the Spanish presidency of the Council of the EU is to maintain coordinated support for Ukraine and to do so by strengthening European unity. To ensure the sustainability of assistance to Ukraine, the EU envisages creating an assistance fund for the country of up to €5 billion per year from 2024 to 2027, which will be integrated into the European Peace Facility. The High Representative Joseph Borrell indicated that the ministers reaffirmed the EU's support for Ukraine in its defense against Russian military aggression and to continue helping the country and to achieve solid and sustainable military support in the long term.
Internationally, Russia is more and more isolated. And the fact that Putin didn't want to renew the plan to export grains from Ukraine has certainly weakened the position of Russia. Because people start understanding that the problems of food in the world are not created by our sanctions, but by the attitude of Russia not letting the grain from Ukraine being exported.
There is quite a large parts of Ukrainian territories, and they are covered in mines, and the sooner these areas are clean, the sooner Ukraine can restart its economic activity.
We had a bridge pledge. 2030 European Union is ready to enlarge, and the Western Balkans has a big window of opportunity to be ready to join the European Union.
The ministers once more expressed the EU's alignment with the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, vis-à-vis the coup in Niger. In this regard, they expressed their support for the regional organization in its response to the coup in Niger, while awaiting a more specific request for assistance to be able to study it and give their opinion on it.
From the Irish perspective, we believe that there has to be continued sustained investment in people in Africa, from the humanitarian dimension, development dimension, in addition to the security dimension. It can't just be one. But certainly a lot of room for reflection and thought in terms of what is happening in the Sahel at the moment, and very, very concerning, the number of coups d'etats that have taken place, and the essential undermining of the democratic process.
At the request of the High Representative, the Minister's Defense discussed the wisdom of to take measures against the coup plotters on initiative that the EU foreign ministers will continue to study. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty to election interference charges in the U.S. state of Georgia. At Thursday's court filing signed by Trump himself, he waived formal arraignment and entered for a plea of not guilty to the indictment in the case. The former president is facing 13 criminal charges in Georgia, where prosecutors have accused him and 18 associates of joining a conspiracy to unlawfully change the outcome of the 2020 United States presidential election. In that state, prosecutors had set arraignment hearings for Trump and his co-defendants for September 6. Now back in Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu is asking religious leaders to intensify national reorientation of the Nigerian people towards strengthening the bond of unity in the country. The president said this as he received the members of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs led by Sultan Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, who is the President General of the Council. The Council called on the President to continue to work in the interests of the people.
Yes, the expectation is high, and there's tough time right now.
President Bola Tinubu consistently acknowledges the socio-economic realities in the country. Yes, he has a rational understanding of the situation, but then a frequent reminder may be necessary. Members of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs take up that responsibility as they came calling. President Tinubu has taken some decisions along the way, with some hard to bear for Nigerians. That notwithstanding, the Council appreciates the genuine interest of the administration to turn things around. Beyond this, the unity of the Nigerian people, they say, is also important to them.
To make sure that it continues to rule with transparency, with honesty, with equity, to the benefit of all members of this great country of ours.
It is a seeming convergence of interest as President Tinubu expresses his aim to bequeath a more united Nigeria. There is equally a presidential assignment for the council.
Mr. President has also asked them to be in the forefront of the national reorientation, which is one of the pillars of his administration. He has asked them to go back to areas of conflict. You recall that the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence, was also in Niger to engage with the military junta there. He has asked them to continue to go back in the spirit of his belief that only dialogue, only engagement can end crises across the world.
The council is the latest group to leverage on the open door policy promised by the current administration. From the State House, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
And on food production, China, in partnership with Farmers Association in Nigeria and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, plan to stage an agricultural reality show for young farmers in the country. Former Adamawa State Governor Murtala Nyako says the project is to encourage youths to key into the Bola Ahmed Tinubu's food security initiative. Musa Ali reports.
Food security tops the 8-point agenda of the present administration. The government plans to create an avenue that will make the country remain food secured and become major exporter of agricultural produce in Africa. And farmers associations believe that involving youth in the project will lead to success.
But if we do not hold ourselves accountable, Nigeria will never be green again.
And then this competition will open the minds of the young people, move them from just entertainment to entertaining their own business agriculture.
Former Adamawa State Governor Murtala Nyako said the use of modern technology is what will encourage the youth to embrace farming.
We must pay attention to what's happening in agriculture. Without it, it's very, very difficult for us to get out of hunger, to get out of the level of lawlessness we are in now.
The reality show will engage youth in farming competition for 3 months. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
Now, the House of Representatives has summoned the acting governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to appear before it to give an account of the value and status of the national housing funds domiciled in the Apex Bank from 2011 to date. At the resumed hearing of the ad hoc committee investigating the utilization of the funds, members emphasized that the Apex Bank is empowered by law to make remittances to the fund at source from commercial banks.
The Central Bank of Nigeria shall collect from commercial and merchant banks at the end of every year and not later than 1 month thereafter the percentage of their contribution to the fund as specified in Section 5, subsection 1 of this Act. The Central Bank of Nigeria shall within 2 months of making the collection under subsection 1 of this Act pay the money to the bank for investment in the funds. This is what we expect from CBN.
We need to put it straight so that there will be a result at the end of the day where people will have a good accommodation from their very long time savings.
A National Assembly correspondent Mitare Pen reports that the House Committee's decision to summon the Central Bank Governor followed testimonies by representatives of several commercial banks that appeared before the committee, indicating remittances to the National Housing Fund running into billions of naira. You're still watching the news on NTA International. We will take a quick break now. More reports when we return. Please stay with us.
The job of making Nigeria great is my ambition, is my dream. To renew the hope of Nigerians, to really bring about changes that will promote unity, equity, stability, and prosperity for this country. It's not a one-man's job. is job of all of us.
Every house has its own rules. But in this house, rules can be deceiving. Follow them, bend them, break them, make them. The house can't win if you beat it at its own game. Play your cards right. Be heard. Be seen. Change perception. Expose the players. Reveal the drama, the passion, the charm, the deceit. All eyes are on you, but keep your eye on the prize. Run the risk, take the house. Only one king or queen will ace the game on Big Brother Naija. Season 5 starts 19th of July, 7 p.m. on DSTV Channel 198 and GoTV Channel 29. Headline sponsor, Betway. Gold sponsor, Guinness. Rated 18.
Thank you for staying with us. Now to political matters. The crisis crumbling the new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, has come to many as a surprise, considering the expectations to serve Nigeria as the much-tinted third force. In this report, David Ire examines the issues that have factionalized the leadership of the party.
Founded in 2001 by Boniface Aniebunem, NNPP is one of the oldest political parties in Nigeria. Its performance in the 2023 general election is its major and best outing since it was formed. But managing and building on the success story seems too difficult now.
We make it as a mandatory to our party that we have to sit down and look into the activities of our conduct before, during, and after the elections.
The election results showed that despite the strong wave it made in the north, not much was seen in the south, with allegations of some party leaders and officials selling out to other parties for personal gains. This process led to the suspension of 8 party chairmen and expulsion of 2 others who were already beyond redemption level.
Some of them decided to go out, some of them decided to go to court. And the condition of the party is very clear. Once you take the party to court, automatically you stand expelled.
The aggrieved members on their part accused the leader of the party, Musa Rabiu Kwankwaso, of fraternizing with the ruling APC in an attempt to secure a ministerial appointment, a move they said was against the interest of the party. Founder of the party, Boniface Aniebunem, nullified the suspension and expulsion of the state chairman, alleging that it was not the decision of the party hierarchy. Angered by the development, the NWC placed Boniface Aniebunem and the National Publicity Secretary, Major Agbo, on suspension, and this led to the division in the party.
We are not a faction, we are the NNPP. They are the ones that have gone to form.
At a time like this, the National Working Committee under me would be soliciting for the cooperation and direct involvement of all the other members of the party.
Despite the unhealthy situation, the acting chairman of the party believes the party can still come together as a big family, but wants erring officers to acknowledge their wrongdoing and seek forgiveness of the authority. In Abuja, David Ire, NTA News.
David Ire also reports that the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution is adopting a new strategy in tackling increasing cases of disputes and hostilities across the country. It is in keeping with this that a strategic legislative course on negotiation and mediation was held for the Taraba State House of Assembly on dispute management and control.
Put together by the National Peace Academy, the training program is to expose participants to contemporary ways of curbing disputes so they do not degenerate to war. This approach focuses on the leadership orientation and cordial relationship with members of the society to create good neighborhoods.
The soft skills on capacity to negotiate and mediate, between people in conflict environment and in daily life, so that we can change the narrative from issues around violence to issues around peace.
Participants at the workshop see the training as expository and have made commitments to tackle communal issues in their state with the knowledge acquired.
When we get back to Taraba State, we will have a peace committee in the House of Assembly, and they will be given the free mandate of making peace where necessary.
This is the first of the series of training to be held for various state houses of assembly. In Abuja, David Ire, NTA News.
Now, the Minister of Police Affairs has assured the Nigerian police force that the federal government is committed to providing adequate funding for police operations, procure equipment that meets specific needs, and prioritize the welfare of officers and men. He gave the assurance when the leadership of the Nigerian police force briefed the two ministers in Abuja. Francis Form reports.
This is the first time the leadership of the Nigeria Police Force is meeting the ministers of police affairs to discuss and exchange perspectives on reforming the force in accordance with global best practices and policing to ensure public safety.
I have briefed the ministers on the general operations of the Nigerian Police Force. We have let them know our challenges. We have also presented an overview of the dynamics of crime and the general internal security situations in the country.
To tackle the diverse range of criminal activities, they need to establish specialized units that address all forms of crimes, highly needed, says the police minister.
Effective intelligence gathering mechanisms are critical for proactive crime prevention. We must establish robust systems to gather and analyze intelligence, enabling us to stay one step ahead of criminals.
We've highlighted a few challenges. We look forward to looking through them to see how we can address the issues of recruitment, the challenges here and there that are stopping us from becoming a world-class policing force.
They directed the force management team to address the issue of response time to distress calls by Nigerians. Francis from NTA News.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency has acquired recertification of the International Standard Organization of the Provision of Aeronautical Meteorological Services. This will enable the agency to continue to provide the services to 6 international airports in the country, as well as 8 training institutions in Lagos and Katsina states. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Keyamo, during a familiarization visit to NIMET, says more attention will be given to the agency to continue to provide weather-related information in the country and beyond. As part of the tour, the minister visited the Central Forecast Office, where he was briefed on how data is generated, transmitted, and translated to forecasts and other products. The minister also visited the numerical weather prediction unit as well as the state-of-the-art weather studio, where he presented weather update reports. Members of the Nigerian Law School class of 1997 have pledged their resolve to continue to uphold the tenets of the legal profession, as well as contribute meaningfully to the country's journey to all-round development. This was at the 25th anniversary celebration and reunion of the class held in Abuja. Chukunanso Nwabeze reports.
Formed in Lagos in 1997 and reunited in Abuja 25 years later, this Nigerian Law School class of 1997 is here to commemorate 25 years of the class existence. A lecture titled 25 Years at the Bar and Quest for Safer Way of Legal Profession, Odds and Imperatives, delivered by one of their own and presiding judge of the National Industrial Court, Owerri Division, Justice Nelson Obuanya, set the tone for the celebrations.
Those who remain faithful amidst all these challenges, they are faithful to the profession and they are facing the challenging time and serve diligently and competently within the tenets of the ethical regulation ought to be commended.
Having produced outstanding legal icons, including judges at various courts, senior advocates of Nigeria, academia, private sector giants, as well as politicians and top government officials, such as the current Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, and his wife, NTA's Councillor Sadolo, the class recalls with nostalgia how it all began.
We have not only grown professionally, we have grown in our private lives too.
So looking back, considering what's happened over the years, we have a lot of reason to be grateful to God.
Some of our colleagues, I haven't seen them for the past 25 years. So coming together is a great experience.
For other members of the class, the anniversary celebration will only spur them to do more towards the growth and development of the country's jurisprudence.
In the next few years, hopefully, we will play a better part in the overall administration of justice system in Nigeria.
The knowledge, the experience, and the networking that we have had over time, all of that, has been very helpful in guiding us in what we do in our respective chosen fields.
Foremost in their agenda also is the posthumous honor to their colleagues who are not alive to witness the epoch-making event. Chukwunonsonwa Boeze, NTA News.
Now, tackling post-harvest losses in the storage of agricultural produce is key in strengthening food security in Nigeria. This was the position of experts at the opening of the 2023 Engineering Week of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Debola Brooksland reports.
Records show that Nigeria contributes about 51% of the total food supply in West Africa. Observers say Nigeria's post-harvest losses have increased to an estimated 3.5 trillion naira annually. These engineers are advancing the competitiveness in the agricultural sector to revive Nigeria's dwindling economic fortunes. Reducing the post-harvest losses, key players say, could be a sustainable solution to increase food availability, reduce pressure on natural resources, eliminate hunger, and improve the livelihood of farmers.
Nigeria's agricultural sector requires massive investment to increase production and to create value addition across the most profitable segments of the value chain. It is the only viable way to survive the current global economic uncertainty.
Stakeholders say reducing post-harvest losses in agriculture requires a holistic approach that involves multiple approaches in embracing technological advancements to sustain forever growing population.
To say post-harvest, you can also have a very quick value addition. Value addition, from the commodity, into what we call the product. And then finally, packaging, ready for marketing, whether it is immediate marketing within the local community. We are looking at agriculture as products, but adding value, because it is in the addition, is in the value chain addition that we will get to reap the full benefits.
The engine protects harvested crops from pests, moisture, and temperature fluctuations. These strategies and technologies, they say, can help end or significantly reduce post-harvest losses in Nigeria. Adebola Brooksland, NTA News.
Up next is weather reports. That is it on the news, NTA International News, that is. I am Charles Alpha, and my sign language interpreter is Courage Ogerahi. Thanks for watching.